You need a lawyer in everything. And Ugandans always try and remove that route. They try and
escape.
They want to escape paying legal fees.
This is why such shows and programs are very important for your mental health, because you're going to get stressed. You're going to you're going to die on stage, and
remember, like I told you in the Contracts Act, contracts are either oral or written.
Yeah.
But if you really want,
as for oral contracts,
especially in Uganda, you need to have your things stipulated. Yes.
Ignorance is
so someone infringes and it's okay. Right?
But however, ignorance is not a defense in law. You will never go to a judge
and say, I didn't know. Yeah, what's up everybody? This is Dtrix Parker, straight from H2C Dance Company. We are here for episode 7 of the dance club. As you can see, there are new faces in Baka today. Guys with the suits, swats, men in black vibes. If you know, you know. Yeah. So, before we go any further, allow me break the ice right now. You must be wondering, who is this? I'm sure most of you have seen him on YouTube, on the gram. I'm sure some have seen him in certain workspaces, and they're like, yo, so this guy, how do you know this guy? Your cool friends, those things. So
like a Will Smith there.
So in case you have any movie deals and you need someone to, he's here. But that aside, our guest today is TERRY KAHUMA. What can I say? This is a man of
his reputation.
A graduated lawyer. First of all, it's not easy. Aren't you seeing people check how many years in law school?
The current situation
it's not easy. But this is a graduated lawyer. He's going to give us more in detail, because I don't want to underrepresent him. I cannot do that to him. How dare I? So let him introduce himself, sir.
Okay, hi everyone, Terry here. I run a YouTube channel called Simply Legal, and I'm actually very thrilled to be here with the H2C Dance crew.
We are also thrilled.
I go way back. I go way back with these guys, and yeah, I just feel the positivity, the vibe, and I would love to do a collab with you guys. I've actually, this is it. This is the final time.
This is the one.
This is the one.
So we're here to do media law, and I'm ready to dive right in, because this is one of my favorite types of law.
So I'm sure there's so many people who keep asking us that, hey dancers, what? This person used my things. So we are here to talk about all those things, all related. All those issues. Why YouTube strikes people? All those.
I've actually gotten many strikes by the way.
Exactly. So today we are here to break down all those things that are merged with entertainment, media, and law.
Okay.
So this is an episode that I think so many people have been waiting for.
Because everything is legal.
Everything is legal in this time.
Especially with entertainment, by the way.
Actually, I think it was last night. I was online, and I got to a certain artist's page on Instagram. And I see her doing an interview, quarreling. Hey, these guys are very unfair. Can you imagine? But what is she crying about? That the record label took her YouTube channel, because she signed it off in what? So they have control over it. So she cannot release music right now.
Before you give them all the sauce, let's dive.
Okay,
Let's dive into the topic. guys.
Okay, I
Let's
think
dive in.
that was too much speed.
But yeah, I like that. Straight to the point.
So let's dive
I was
in.
actually expecting a question from Cedric, but anyway.
Let's dive in. Let's now get into the cake. So I think let's describe for people briefly what media law. Let's give them a short brief
preamble
so
about
that everyone can understand what you're talking about, because today there are going to be so many legal terms and that people need to understand,
and that's why Simply Legal is here. Just simplify it for them.
Simplify it for them.
So sir, you can take it away, give them a short brief.
Okay, so dear viewers, media law is, I would say, is a mixture of many kinds of law, because when you talk about media, we have newspapers, we have videography, we have, literally works. So it's basically, media is basically an expression of yourself, dancing, music, guitaring, any kind of thing. So when you talk about media law, there is no specific law which comes into media law, but there are many kinds of law. We have copyright law, we have licensing rights, you talked about YouTube. So it's more like in media you have many things in one. You have production, you have videography. If you look at movies, there are also there are many things in one. That's why whenever you watch movies, you see Universal Studios, you see executive producers. You can find that many things can come into one to produce Eddie Kenzo's video.
For example, Eddie Kenzo's video, right?
Eddie Kenzo's video, let's say It's a Weekend. So you find that It's a Weekend has like 4 production companies in one. And then all those guys are going to have sharing rights. So if, let's say, It's a Weekend is going to make about $1 billion US, then many people are going to benefit from that. But before you even go into the benefiting part of it, there are contracts involved. There is also copyright law. So that's just a brief. It's crazy, by the way, because many people think that Eddie Kenzo is the one who makes all the money, but there are many people involved in just making his one video that are going to benefit from.
Can you relate it to a movie, like how the cast can be so many people?
Okay.
How the cast can be of so many people in order for them to achieve one production, like a film production.
Okay, so when you look at, for example, I want to look at a famous like Black Panther. When you look at the Black Panther movie, we have, of course, the late Chadwick Boseman. We have the actors, we have the production companies. This can even be like 5. So we can have like, let's say, Universal Studios. We can have Woodwork Productions. We can have this. We can also have the cast. Now all these people are going to sign different kinds of contracts. So the contract law in different countries is, of course, it varies. So we're going to have contract law, we're going to have copyright law. Now when you told me about the video, you majorly emphasize on copyright law. We have what's called fair use. Because most of these production companies are going to say, you know what, I was part of making the Black Panther movie. So all of them are going to see how they can share the royalties. Now, actually, that brings me to my next point. I don't know whether that's
Please define for them royalties.
Okay, so royalties. Now, like you guys have your dance moves normally in the choreography kind of aspects. So, if let's say you guys come up with your own dance moves, your own choreography, then if you guys put it out there to NTV, if NTV says, man, Dtrix, Cedric and David, you guys, I really like your H2C dance crew, and we really like the way you guys danced in Shiba's video or Spice Diana's video. Then if NTV or UBC wants to air out your how can I say it? Okay, if
our video with the dance moves.
Yes. Then you guys are going to enter some sort of contract
with them.
Because you guys are part of of performing rights. I don't know if you guys have heard of Uganda Performing Rights Society.
Yes.
So now those guys, if you're part of Uganda Performing Rights Society, then those guys can even come in to defend you and say, you know what, these guys are a young crew, these guys deserve their royalties. Now you asked me to define what royalties are. Royalties are basically your money, like your commission, in other words. You're basically paying, I can't say commission, but you're basically, the NTV is basically paying you for using your song. Perfect. Or your dance moves. Now that will take me to the Copyrights Act, and Copyright and Neighbor Rights Act of Uganda. That's of 2006. So I don't know that I'm using very complicated terms.
No,
but choreography is part of copyrighted work. So you can argue it out on that basis. You can have a contract where you say, you know what, we already have our work in material form. We already have our music video that we did. Or you guys can just come up with like an instrumental or a beat. You guys dance, and then you just pitch it out to NTV. You say, you know what, NTV already have this. If they're very interested, or if it goes viral, then they can pay you, because every time it can be a commercial, it can be, especially in commercials and ads, maybe on YouTube. Then even there, YouTube can also pay you guys. Or any sort of, for example, I normally see Nomi can have an advert with you guys, or Geisha, or White Star Soap. You know, if they want to include your choreography inside their advertisement, then they pay you royalties. You've now understood what royalties are. They're just basically paying you for
using your work.
Perfect.
So I wanted to ask also,
yes,
given the circumstances that you've described right now, if what's the best placement for me, what's the best shield for me, or like, for example, do I need to be in an association in order to be able to claim my rights, or I can do it individually?
I would actually argue it out in two ways. You can do it in two ways. You can argue it out both in an association or by yourself, because when you look at the laws of Uganda, Uganda Performing Rights Society is a body recognized in itself. So that can give you a good argue out basis, because if you're part of the society, that means that it's very easy for you to argue it out by saying that, you know what, as part of the society we have a Memorandum of Association. A memorandum of Association, I don't know if you guys know what that means. Then
for those who do not know, when we talked about this in the previous episode, Rose, please if you feel like you want to expand, register your dance crew as a company, so that you get to know these things. You have a memorandum of association, you have a certificate of incorporation, so that
are you getting registered?
Yes, we are.
Right on. You guys, that's really smart.
So
you guys,
it helps you grow bigger. You get there are so many advantages when people want to fund you. All those small things. Brings
me to my next point. You see, when you registered as a company, that is a legal entity in itself. So Dtrix or Cedric or David, you guys may not even have to sue in yourself as a natural person. In law, we have a legal person and a natural person. So as a natural person, you have your rights in the constitution, those things. But as a legal person, as H2C Dance Group, because you guys are a team, so you cannot take the royalties alone, you as Dtrix or you as David. You can't take them alone. But if you sue as a registered entity, which you guys already are, then that gives you a lot of bargaining power. And that means, for example, like let's say NTV refuses to pay you guys. Now, David, to answer your question, if NTV refuses to pay you guys your royalties, and yet you had agreed, then you can lodge a case saying H2C Dance Group versus NTV. But it will be much harder if it's David Sembatia versus NTV Uganda, because you guys signed the contract with NTV and you guys signed the contract as H2C Dance Group. You've now understood that? But if it was just one person, if it's Cedric Chiwanuka dancing only, and NTV uses and the contract was between Cedric Chiwanuka and NTV, then Cedric can only sue. Cedric can sue NTV. You've now understood it.
So now, what if it happens the other way around? Meaning, let's say if the contract was signed,
the
NTV uses the content that is Cedric's, but Cedric tries to sue as what?
As H2C.
H2C. Does that hold or it doesn't?
No, it doesn't hold because you see in court. Now, one of the first things I talked about in what's encompassed in media law is contract law.
Contract law.
Yeah.
Now, contract law is governed by the Contracts Act of Uganda 2010. When a judge will look at the terms, because we have what are called implied terms and express terms. What was agreed between H2C Dance Group and NTV? If your literally works, I mean, how can I explain it? If your choreographed video was already in like CD form or it was already up on your channel, that means you gave NTV the right to use it, and that's why I talk about fair use.
Okay.
Now we have that in the Copyrights Act. I'm bringing up many things because there are many things included. In the Copyrights Act, there's what we call fair use. Fair use is looked at under Section 15 of the Copyright and Labor Rights Act. So that means in your contract you say that, you know what,
before you go further, can we please I think just recognize how the school fees did not go to West? No one is assuming here.
I take it back to Jah Almighty, to God Almighty.
You can continue.
So, yes, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes.
Yeah, you asked about how you can protect yourself.
Protection.
So you can protect yourself under what is enforced under your contract. If you know that you had a contract with NTV Uganda, then if they ever breach that, there's what they call breach of a contract. Now, you always go back to the breach of a contract. Now, in express terms is what you clearly express in the terms of the contract. Like, you know that as part of the contract, you say that number one, you know that the royalties will be paid at this time, like let's say on 15th March, to be paid every 15th of every month. Now, should NTV breach that, then you can
on 16.
And not it. Okay, the law gives like that's a short period of time on which to pay. But if they don't pay at all, then you can sue them on the express terms that you had in the contract. Then there are implied terms. Implied are not directly stated in a contract, but they are there as a matter of formality, and you can also sue on that.
So give us an example of an implied term.
An implied term can be, for example, you will be how can I say? Okay, an express term. Our implied terms are gotten more from express terms. If you normally set your date that an implied term can even be that you will only have that contract with NTV.
Oh, exclusive.
It's both express and implied. It's exclusive. In that H2C can now not again give its rights to UBC. You can't give your rights to NBS. You've now understood it, eh?
Like
So
limit. You're limited to do something, a particular something.
So it's
with
both
only that person.
it's both
you cannot
express
go
and
sharing
implied.
it. Okay.
Sharing what?
You can. I think what is meaning is there are those other terms that do not look obvious, but they are there. Because you can't sign the same. You can't have the same contract in the same time with
another broadcasting company. So
I wanted to ask a case in point. For example, if there's no agreement, there's no agreement between us and NTV. For example, one, the case might be verbally. Verbal agreement. Two, there's fair use. Is this fair use if NTV just gets my work, content of YouTube and they post it? Is that fair?
without consulting you?
Yes, without consulting.
No, it's not fair use. Okay, I'll answer you in the first instance. So you asked me about a contract. You see, in contract law, we have a contract can either be oral or written.
Yes.
And that's it. It can either be oral or written, but if you really want it to be enforceable in court, then your contract has to be written. Under the Contracts Act, we have it that it's either oral or written. But for it to stand, especially something where someone is earning from your work, then it needs to be written. Because if it's oral, a judge will ask you that,
Unless there's evidence.
Unless there was evidence. And how is the evidence? In terms of payment of receipts, bank statements. Because in law we have circumstantial evidence. Even if your contract was oral, it was done orally, the judge will ask, okay, do you have maybe bank statements? How was NTV paying you guys? But in most cases, in terms of royalty, because if you look at Eddie Kenzo's videos, I've seen many times it's a weekend, or I feel blessed, or City Loss. All of those things are aired on NTV, NBS, but
most music videos.
But there is no way that Eddie Kenzo's lawyer or his manager can let him into a verbal contract. Because NTV can be like, no, for us we never had it. In fact, they agreed. Now you guys will not have any say in it. You will not say that no, we agreed this and this. In law, we look at contracts.
Can I ask?
Is
that one of the reasons why, for example, stations prefer or broadcasters prefer you go and premiere the song, because it's more like you're giving them the allowance to what? Like you're actually telling them, okay, yes, I am allowing you to now what? Play my content on your channel or anything. Is it also partly that, or
It's not.
or it's all that is not? It's not even actually legal.
Sorry, I've not gotten your question very well.
You see how an artist can go to. Actually, artists use it a lot. They said, you don't bring your video to NTV, so how do you expect us to play it? I don't know if you've had that slight communication that people always use. It happens a lot. Like if you do not take your video to NTV, how would you expect them to play it? I think it is because now they know, like they know that artists distribute their music on YouTube, for example, and all those other sites, and they can download the video in its best quality and play it. But they still go ahead and say, you did not bring the video to NTV, so we cannot play it. So does that hold in that aspect you said of they're not using your video in fair use? They're encroaching on your material.
Yes, they are, because actually, if you've not taken it to NTV, then it means that there was no contract even begin with. You get what I mean? Because ideally, you should be able to first take your video to NTV. Okay, now this is the right procedure. If you don't want any issues at all of them breaching a contract, or even you, of them suing you, so the best thing is for you to take it to NTV.
Take it yourself.
Yeah, you take it yourself there. You say that, look, my video has gone viral, or it's a very good thing, it's going to bring you more viewership. Now, if you take it to NTV will now say, okay, fine, we've liked your video, we've reviewed it and everything. Of course, they'll give you some days to review it. Now they'll say, we would like to air your video for about like 10 minutes or like 3 minutes. Okay, videos are normally 3 minutes. Like to air video for 3 minutes. Now let's sign a contract. Because those guys are not fools either. They would want to do it in such a way that you both benefit, but you need to be very careful in law, because NTV is a bigger entity than H2C Dance Crew or than Simply Legal. They'll want to use you. That's the honest truth. I'm not incriminating NTV at all, but it's a very common thing. Especially if
it's an example, right?
Yes, an example. Especially if you're the one who has looked for them. If they're the ones who look for you, it's a different case. So you need to argue the terms out in a way that's beneficial to mainly you guys, or it's a win-win for both of them. Then
is there any way you can relate it to tax, URA, and how they come for someone?
Now
it's a whole different
thing. But what I can tell you is that you guys are more deserving of your royalties. If I don't know, you guys featured in Spice Diana's song. If you guys are ever close to her, you'll find out how she gets her royalties from her music video. You get it? Because her music videos are always being aired out on different TV stations. They always come to her and say, you know what? We want an open contract with you. We want to be airing your song, My Body. How much are your royalties? then her manager and lawyer will then discuss with their managers and lawyers how much Pasadena should be getting.
Yeah.
But Terry, a case in point, for example, in Uganda, where there's no copyright for music, and it's still being worked on.
It's there actually.
I think it's there, but it's not.
It's there.
Okay, the physical one is the one that I think is light. I think.
For example, when there's that strong copyright, for example, in Nigeria, where the moment you play Wizkid's song, for example, in a concert, when he's not there, automatically it's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, actually, it brings me to a very interesting point, David, that you brought, that our copyright laws are not, they are there, they're already in existence, and they've been there for some time.
They're not well enforced.
They are not well enforced. No, they're authentic. It's already there, like people already swing for copyright. Just that Ugandans are not aware. Because I want to just explain to you what copyright is. It's an expression of your idea. You've put your idea in material form, either CD or a what. Now you guys is in choreography form. And according to Section 2 of the Copyrights Act, choreography or choreographic dance moves are part of copyright.
Wow.
Because it's your creativity.
Yeah.
You know, copyright in many targets creativity, creative works. That's why even on YouTube, if I was able to get you guys video, a short clip, and I put it on Simply Legal, I'll get flagged. Because YouTube wants to always protect people's copyright. The creator's work. The only way is if we agreed, and when I put your part of the video there, they flag me and they inform you guys. Then you guys know, no, we actually already agreed on everything.
Yes, and
now that's where the fair use comes in. Fair use is that, you know what, I've really appreciated H2C Dance Crew's choreography. And I consult you. I would want to use part of your in my content. So now that's where fair use comes in. Yeah, and that's where now I can share your copyright.
Okay.
You get it?
Now, my next question is.
I hope I'm answering you guys very well.